Let's shake it, everybody. My name is Ross Mandel. I'm coming to you guys live today from Delray Beach, Florida, Scott Woolley Studios. You're going to meet a very, very special man today. He's not one of us. He comes from a distant shore, a native of New Zealand. Some call them Kiwis, some call them Maoris. We're going to call this guy Lance Houia, a rugby player, a beast of a man, a very special guy who I've gotten to know and I call today a friend and a business associate. And we're going to see what's shaking from Mr. Lance Houia. My brother, how are you?
I am good, my friend. How are you doing? Happy to be here, and we know this is all coming, so I'm glad to be sitting in front of you.
So excited to have you here today in my studio in Delray. As you can see, the magical likeness. We get a lot of commentary on this from time to time, and you and I have actually become friends. We've been out to dinner. We've been out to lunch. We're talking about bringing you into the Raw Media family. I feel like it's almost done already. And you bring quite a lot to the table. But my audience doesn't know you. You haven't, they haven't had the privilege to actually get to know the man, the myth, the legend of this great Maori warrior. So let's start at the beginning. I love to dial the clock back.
Oh, yeah.
And so people can understand where you came from, who you are, what you're made of. So where were you born? Tell us about early life, what it was like growing up wherever you are.
So I was born in a small town, which in America, it's probably a country town. It's called Rotorua, New Zealand.
Slow down. What's it called?
Rotorua, New Zealand.
Like Rotorua,
Yep.
New Zealand.
And the entire town is basically mud pools and geysers.
Mud pools and geysers.
Yep. So it smells like rotten eggs, like sulfur, but the town itself is predominantly Polynesians, Pacific Islanders, from Maoris to Samoans to Tongans to Rarotongans to Fijians. So pretty dominated with the Polynesian culture.
Now are Polynesians considered brown people, or?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I always say permatan. Ross.
I love that. So everybody's so consumed with race and color and all that.
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
I just love to understand what we're dealing with.
Well, the greatest gift we are is we're all human. We all bleed the same.
Listen, that's who I am, but not everybody believes like I do and you do, you know.
Yeah. So the small town I grew up in,
and where is this town located?
Central North Island in New Zealand, Rotorua, New Zealand.
Now, for those that don't know, where is New Zealand?
New Zealand is below Australia. We are not Australian, so for all your audience, right. We are not Australia. We are not a part of Australia. It's two absolutely separate islands, different islands, as Australia has 10 of the deadliest snakes in the world, 10 of the top 10 deadliest spiders and snakes in the world, whereas New Zealand has nothing.
None of those type things.
None of those things.
And yet you're physically, geographically on a map, you see this giant continent, Australia, and this little island of New Zealand.
Yep.
Interesting.
And New Zealand is a lot more cultural. Like the Māori culture is very predominant in New Zealand now. It's growing. The language is coming back. So if I was going to say hello to you, I would say kia ora. Kia ora, Ross.
Well, kia ora
which
to
means
you too.
Hello. So, I love it because our culture is making that stand. It's making that comeback big in New Zealand right now. So that I'm a very proud Māori. And, the town that I grew up in, these two things right here, these fists that you have, you had to use them not by choice, because it's very tough. The Polynesian culture is a lot different than the rest of the world, because the discipline is a lot different than what you'll see in any other culture. So if you're told to move, then you better move. Well, you will be moved.
I was in the fight game for a long minute, and I trained in combat sports pretty much on and off my whole life. And the Samoans have a reputation for being real warriors, tough guys,
Mm-hmm.
You see The Rock, that sort of a thing. He seems to embody that to some extent, like the Hawaiians. Is it Polynesians and Maoris in New Zealand similar to that kind of thing?
Very much so. Okay. We're all part of the same family, but the Māori culture, we're born and bred warriors. It's all tribal. My tribe is Ngāti Porou, which means children of the sea.
You speak fluent, of course.
No, not at all. I've been gone for so long that I've lost a lot of my cultural language. You know, I mean, for the longest time, we learned it in high school. But once you start traveling, and I've been traveling a very long time, but, you know, to start from the beginning, you know, I had 5 sisters and 3 brothers, and all my sisters were the oldest. So I grew up in a big family, but it was a broken home. Never knew my father.
Never knew your father?
Never knew him.
Wow.
No, I didn't know him. And, you know, my mom was an incredible person and raised us kids, but we moved around quite a bit.
Raising 8 kids.
Yeah. Yeah, she was amazing
So
lady.
not a rich family. You didn't grow up with
No, everything we did, we fought for, and, you know, it was the same as me. Like, you know, at a very young age, I started working. I was doing paper runs and milk runs where I was pushing around 6 crates on a trolley delivering milk for tokens. So, you know, people would leave tokens in bottles and it's fresh milk and fresh cream. But at the same time, that's where I was starting to get fit. So it put me in the rugby game pretty.
Now, how old a guy
early.
are you now? You're 55, correct?
55, yes, sir.
Born in May.
Yep.
I just want the audience to understand. So you were growing up like in the 70s, kind of, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
In New Zealand.
Yeah, in New Zealand.
Yeah. And, you know, I grew up in pretty much one of the roughest neighborhoods called Ford Block. It's in my hometown, a pretty rough neighborhood, you know, where you really had to keep your head on a swivel. You had to look after yourself. But to be honest with you, what motivated me, what drove me was by circumstance. You know, we weren't the richest family, but we were still a family. And our mom, she kept us together. You know,
Good woman, a strong woman.
Unbelievably
raising
strong
8 kids.
Yeah.
Basically, you're saying on her own. You didn't know your dad.
Yeah.
But she had the sisters to help out, thank God.
Yeah, but, you know, like I had a lot of stepdads that weren't the nicest people in the world.
I get that. Okay. Now
yeah, so it was a different journey that started there. And, you know, I, in an abusive home, you know, physically abusive, you had to fight your way out, protect my mom a lot of the time. But, you know, I had incredible people. A lot of what I did was what was happening at home, I reflected in school. So, you know, I'd get in fights at school because of what was happening at home.
Now, they have proper schools.
Oh, yeah.
Over there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So it's like an organized society. I just want to get a handle on
the schools are very much well organized, and, you know, if you apply. And to be honest with you, there were 2 teachers, Mr. J.Mo Morrison and Mr. Jessup, who changed my life. You know, teachers know what's going on in your home when you're showing up with black eyes and fat lips and
really,
yeah, you know, it's
happening.
not rocket science that you know what's going on, and so I acted out. You know, I wouldn't listen, and you know, I'd be getting into fights in the classroom because I just didn't care. But then I had these 2 teachers. Mr. Morrison was the first one that pulled me aside and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" And he goes, "Well, we know what's happening at your house, but you don't have to bring it here. School is your escape. Educate yourself and you'll get out."
You're dealing with trauma at home, legitimate trauma.
Yeah. But I tell you, Ross, that message that he said to me that day, it changed me because it was like, wait a minute,
right?
Here's a way out. And then Mr. Jessup was my English teacher, and he kind of said the same thing to me. So that was that first path, that first road where I was like, okay, I got to look at life in a completely different way, and it changed me as a person.
You were what, a little kid or a teenager?
No, I was probably around 10 years old, but a lot happened before that message came to me. But it kind of all happened all at once because within that same year, I was playing cricket in the front yard with all my buddies that I grew up with in the same neighborhood, and I hit this ball, and next door neighbor was Mr. Holden, and he was just a grouchy old man that we'd ignore half the time that we saw him, and I broke his bathroom window. Hitting the ball, broke the bathroom window, and I'm like, and I look up, and all my buddies are gone. Everyone's scattered.
I get it.
But it was that moment in life, it was one of the first crossroads I ever came across, you know, to make a decision. And I stood at the fence, and I'm like, well, I could go over there and not tell him, or I could just go and own it. And you got to think about my life. There were no leaders. There were no people telling me, you know, stand up, step up, be who you can be. Right. And I made that conscious decision myself. And when I knocked on his door and I said, "Hey, Mr. Holden, I broke your bathroom window." And he's like, "Come on in." Swept it up. And then he said, "Come on, follow me." And went to his backyard and he sat me on a tree stump. Pulled out a chair and he sat in front of me. And he said, "Okay, let's talk about life."
Like a fatherly thing.
Yeah.
What, your dad teaches those kind of things.
But he was in the tail end of World War I, and he went through World War II.
Wow.
And all he wanted to do was tell me about your life. And he was our neighbor, so he knew what was happening in around the house. But he was one of the first mentors that I ever had in my life. And, it was every day, or a lot of days after that, where I would just go over, and Mr. Holden and I would go into his backyard. We'd talk about life, and we'd talk about success, and he'd tell me his stories, these amazing, incredible stories, which honestly was the pathway to change me. And, all of a sudden I became ambitious. And then at the same time, I'm learning about my culture, right? Because our culture is about warriors. And you can be a gatherer, or you can be a warrior, or you can be a chief. Which one of those are you? And I've always been a leader my whole entire life. Even from at 10 years old, I was always around leadership once I started seeing it. Before that, I was just seeing abuse. I didn't see anything else. But once I started getting around these people that had leadership roles and started to understand it, it opened up my mind into a totally different place where success became a hunger. I wanted it.
And you didn't get a taste, but you experienced what it might be.
Yeah. And then it just changed my whole entire mindset. And then, I just really threw myself into school and threw myself into rugby, into the challenge. And I loved the challenge, and I loved the camaraderie and the battle of the game, and, the strategic strategies and the mental game of how you go against your enemy and how you break down their weaknesses. And, even at a very young age, I applied that into my life, and then it just grew from there. And, I started to excel in school. I started to excel as an athlete. And then I went over to Australia for a couple of years, and every trip, every success that I did, I'd come back, go to Mr. Holden's, sit down in the backyard, and tell him my story of my journey. And he was just so interested in what I had to say.
That's really a beautiful story. I often question the world. Mm. And then when I hear stories like this about Mr. Holden will shout out to you. It reminds me of the good in the world. It's very easy to focus on the bad. You watch the news, this, that, the other thing, and the horrors of the world. And then you hear a story like that where the man had no agenda.
Mm-hmm.
No agenda.
Yep. Well, the greatest thing was with Mr. Holden is I had someone believe in me.
100%.
And that's all I needed. I just needed someone to believe in me.
Someone that was interested in you.
Yeah. And my successes started to become, very quickly, because my mindset changed to where success was everything. And to be honest with you, what I had in my head was the more success that I can create to grow myself and my image and who I am, I thought, the more successful I am, maybe my dad will walk in that door and say, "I'm proud of you, son."
You really thought about that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's what drove me.
I get it.
I mean, even training for rugby, I would run to the gym. It'd be about a 3-mile run. I'd run to the gym, I'd lift, I'd work out, and then run home again. And that's what drove me. And then my successes started to become, I worked for quite a number of lumber mills, because in my hometown there's a lot of forestry, and my uncles ran lumber mills. And here's the crazy part, Ross. Everybody thinks that I got my size from working out in the gym. Go work in a lumber mill. That's some hard work. That's some tough work.
That's some real work.
And I was really, really young. I approached my uncle. I think I was probably around 12 years old, which he couldn't work in a mill. But I approached my uncle and I said, hey, uncle, I just want to come and get work experience. I want to work out. And he was like, "Yep, you should come up here after school." So I started working around men.
And you want to make some money.
Throwing around, making money and throwing around lumber. Right. And then I would do that. And then I'd get up at 5 in the morning and go deliver newspapers. And then in the afternoon, I'd go do a milk run with Sid Giddy, who was a Commonwealth lawn bowler. So I started surrounding myself with these incredible, amazing people that taught me a different direction in life.
I love it.
And it was success, and I just loved the taste of it. And so I worked in these sawmills. about 3 or 4 sawmills, and then at 19, I started working in a sawmill called Tachikawa, which is a Japanese sawmill. At 19 years old, and I started from the bottom, and within a year, I was actually running my own shift. I had about 300 people underneath me.
Wow.
And here's the crazy part of all this. Through all that journey, starting from Mr. Holden to actually working for Tachikawa Forest Products, the mental game was a big part of who I was, and especially playing rugby.
What do you mean the mental game? The mental game, what does that mean?
Well, the mental game is weaknesses, right? What's our weaknesses? We all have weaknesses. And I started learning at a very young age about focus control. Some of the biggest CEOs in the world of very corporate companies have an amazing focus control. They know how to control things when there's chaos, everything slows down, and they understand how to control it, right? Staying in the present was a big one. I couldn't hang in my past. If I carried my past with me, which I did for a very long time, if I carried my past with me, I carried the abuse with me, then I become the abuse. Well, I made that decision to say, no, it stays where it is. It becomes an anchor if you drag it with you.
I agree.
And I mean, was I perfect? Did it go away completely? No. It was always with me, but it only came out at certain times.
You can make a choice to say, I'm not going to let my past define me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
These are things that I deal with personally. So I'm relating to your story in so many different ways.
Yes.
And did they have schooling like we have, elementary school, reading and writing, ABCs, and then you have middle school.
Exactly the same thing. Yep.
And high school. They do have it. So it's sort of like organized education.
Yeah, and the difference with New Zealand too is, so I played rugby most of my life, but in New Zealand they have athletic days where you have to do every sport.
Right, I understand.
Even if rugby is your main sport, no, you do athletics. I mean, I was good at triple jump, long distance. I used to do the 100 meters, 200 meters, 1,500 meters, because you have to experience it all, and that's what life is all about. Is you have to experience it all, and so Tachikawa taught me leadership. Because I grew myself so quick through this company that at 19 years old, I was literally running my own shift.
Now, where were you living at that time?
Still in Rotorua. I came back to Rotorua.
But when I asked that question, I mean, were you living at home or did you have your own place?
I had my own place. Yeah, I had my own place by then, and
it's like an apartment.
Yeah.
What does something like that cost in New Zealand back then? Now you're talking
$1,200.
Now it's the 1980s, right?
Yeah. Now it's way expensive. Housing down in New Zealand.
Is it $1,200?
Yeah. Yeah, even back in the day.
In the 80s?
Yeah.
Boy, you big shot. You big shot guys.
That's what was amazing was because this is, when I talk about the mental game, I've been in that game for a very long time because my experience was dealing with people. And you deal with people, and especially when you're running a company and you've got a whole bunch of people under you, you're dealing with everything. But I was always a team guy. And I learned, because, what's the difference between a team and a tribe? It's the same thing. Leadership is a chief. You got to be a chief of the tribe.
Correct.
And so all these people, once I learned and focused my way up to the top, what I basically did was I would say to my whole entire crew, I'd say, okay, listen, at lunchtime, it's your hour. They would have an hour for lunch. I said, I'm going to come down there and I'm going to show you the path that I took to get to become a leader, become management. And when you become management, now the money's better. Now you're making money. And on that journey up, your hourly rate's going to change because you're getting into bigger and higher jobs and more experience and things that you do. Every single person, they used to bring their wives and their girlfriends in while I was talking. It was their hour. They didn't have to be. They could all leave. But everyone sat there and listened to me as I motivated them and said, the more you apply yourself, the higher you're going to go.
And what was the principal business of you were leading this team, right?
Yeah.
What were they doing? What was the business?
So it was a sawmill. It was a large, real high-end, high-tech sawmill where there was probably over 40 machines in there. It was massive. It was just a massive site.
Explain what that means.
So basically, sawmilling is they cut trees down, they log it, they bring it into the mill, they take the bark off it, which is called a debarker, then it goes to the head rig, which is two saws, which breaks it down into lumber. So the lumber that you build your homes
Planks,
with.
like.
Yep. And then it goes through a horizontal, which breaks it down even more. Then they cut it into specific sizes, 2x6s, 2x4s. And you got to remember, from 12 years old, I was in the mill, so I knew it.
Right. You had that background.
Yeah. So by the time I went into Tachikawa, I was ready.
Now, what kind of money were you making?
At that time, probably around $65K.
$65,000 a year?
Yeah.
You're 19, 20 years old?
Yeah. Living and loving life. I had everything. I had the
I
car.
can't even imagine.
I had the car. I had the place. I had the house. And the crazy part of it was, and I was playing rugby. And here's what's amazing. So when I wasn't talking to them, when I wasn't breaking down jobs, and we had an amazing crew of people, and we'll admit that, a lot of those guys were guys I grew up with in the same neighborhood, or my brother's friends in the same neighborhood. I hired them all. But we just had an amazing team. We had an amazing unit. When I wasn't teaching them, what we would do at our lunchtimes, and I'm a boss.
Right.
We'd go play rugby out on the concrete.
Well, that's now rugby, for those of my fans of my audience that doesn't know.
Yeah.
Quickly explain to everybody the game of rugby as best you can.
Well, rugby is war without guns.
Okay. War without guns.
It's a man on a man. It's bone on bone. And the only protection that we have is a mouth guard.
And what's the point of rugby? There's a ball, right?
Yeah. So it's an oval ball.
Not a round ball.
Yeah, it's an oval ball. It's about twice the size of American football.
Okay.
And the objective of rugby is you pass the ball backwards to go forwards, and it's full tackle. And you cannot tackle above the shoulders. And if there are 15 positions on the field, and everybody has a job and everybody has a role.
Is it 15 against 15?
Yes, sir.
And then there's something called 7-on-7, right? That's
Yes. So that's the same size field, but you basically have all the fast kids and you have more open space. And 7-a-side is a 14-minute game, 7-minute halves. And 15-a-side is a 80-minute game, 40-minute halves.
And there's no breaks, right?
Unless somebody gets hurt.
So basically you're running nonstop.
Nonstop. It is soccer and American football combined without all the protection.
So you're pretty fit, huh? You've
You
been
have to
pretty
be.
fit your whole
You
life.
have to be. You don't have a choice. You have to have the fitness of soccer, but you also have to have the strength of American football.
Right. So this is a real man's game.
Yeah, but it's honestly, Ross, rugby is probably one of the most strategic games that you'll ever watch and you'll ever play. And the mental game is probably the biggest part of the game, because if you're not fit, you're not lifting weights, and if you're not training specifically for the sport,
You're crushed.
you're
out.
crushed. You're going to get hurt.
Right.
But also, if you're not mentally tough, you'll be crushed. Because if you think about it in the professional arena, if you're not fit and you're not skilled, you're not there.
Well, I get that.
So when you are there, all the talent that is playing up at that level are unbelievably fit, unbelievably skilled. So the only way to break a man down is mentally. And there's a lot of mental games that you can play in rugby. And I got to the place where I was so good I could break down teams just watching them warm up. Just by movement, by what people were yelling and screaming or saying, or the movement of the ball, the movement of their bodies. And if somebody swung the ball underneath on a lateral pass, I mean, that's 2 seconds that I can get up in your face in defense and break down your run.
Now, the football field's 100 yards. What's a rugby field look like?
Rugby field from tri-zone to tri-zone is about, I think it's probably around 110, and then it's about 75 wide.
So it's
big.
It's like a football field.
Yeah,
but
it's big.
With 15 on 15, that's a lot of players.
Mm-hmm.
So football,
But the beautiful part about rugby is size doesn't matter. Because everybody has a specific role.
I get it, but at some level,
No. Size does not matter, because when it comes down to the mental game, everybody has a role. A scrum half is probably some of the shortest players out on the field.
Low center of gravity.
Yeah, and they can knock over. You got to think about it. The bigger you are.
Right, I get it.
And everyone's got to understand, you watch American football and it's collisions. It's 90 miles an hour, lead with your head, violence,
right.
Drop the shot, and you're smashing people.
Right.
Rugby is strategy. Like I'm driving my shoulder into the middle of your quad, and I'm closing my arms like a vice grip. And if you keep running through me, you've got to remember one leg in front of the other, right?
Right.
So when you're hitting the front leg, it's a single leg. The back leg's got to come together. And when it comes together, I just close my arms. And as he's going through me, my arms are going down to his legs. Once my arms get to the ankle and I close it like a vice grip, you can't run without your feet.
I get it. So but you're talking at a high level of understanding now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I understand the organized game.
Yep.
But you said like you're at work, right?
Yeah.
And you guys just would break away and do like
do a scrimmage out on the concrete.
A bunch of guys just playing.
Because we've all been playing since we were so young.
I get it.
So when we would play, and it was no joke. I mean, we would run hard and fast and drop each other. You'd come back with cuts. You'd hear the siren. We'd all go back to work.
I understand.
So what I did was when I was working for Tachikawa, we organized our own league. So there were two sawmills next to each other. So then we organized a competition between the mills, and it was just like a normal game, and we would beat the hell out of each other. And so for me...
Now, you were always a good player at that level.
Yeah.
You're a stud, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because you end up becoming a professional at some point, right? So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're loving this life. And what was your position? What did you end up excelling at?
So I was
at the highest level.
A center. I was an inside center, which is you're a crash man. You run into the wall as hard and as fast as you can to suck as many players as you can into you.
Running with the ball.
You're running with the ball.
Like a fullback in football.
Like a running back.
Like a running back, okay.
Yep. Oh, yeah, fullback, running back,
right,
same thing. And you're just hitting the wall to draw as many players in as you possibly can.
And then you pass
to create gaps on the outside.
So then
once you hit the ground... So you got to imagine your front linesman in American football, they're in front of you blocking for you.
Correct.
In rugby, your front linemen are behind you. So then you got to run into the wall no matter what. But once you're tackled and you go to ground, you have 3 seconds, but your body from your head to your toe becomes a gate. And everybody's got to come through that gate. So they can't come from the side. They have to come through that gate. So if I've got the ball, I tackle, I go to ground. Because my players are behind me, I am placing the ball back to them, but the opposition can come in and grab the ball as long as they come through that gate. But my players are smashing them off the ball. They create basically a group of players around over you and the ball comes out, then it's played again and you keep going.
It's a little bit complicated for us to understand that.
Yeah. It's a complicated game.
Okay, so now you're about 19.
Yep.
And you're working for this Japanese sawmill farm.
Yep.
Tell us more. Move us past this.
Yeah. So then, I started traveling and I went over to Japan and started traveling.
Traveling for fun or traveling for business? Or
traveling for business.
Sport?
Okay. For both. Business and sports.
Okay.
And then I came back and, again, you got to remember Mr. Holden because that's a pretty crucial part of the story. And again, I'd travel, come back and go see Mr. Holden, sit in the backyard with him. And, I was there for quite a few years. And then I remember sitting in my office one day and I made a decision. And I looked out there and I said, I want to do this for the rest of my life. There's got to be more in this world. There's got to be bigger and better things out in the world. And I got to go.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah. And so I made the decision. Everything happened all at once. And again, there's another crossroad that came. I went to my old rugby club that I grew up playing for, Karakura Rugby Club. One night I went over there just to go visit. And I walked in and I'm seeing all the players I played with. And they were like, hey, Lance, there's an American team here. You want to play? And I looked at them and I went, they play rugby in America? They're like, well, there's a team here.
Probably not very well.
Yep. So it was a bunch of lads from out of Chicago, Illinois. And I said, sure, I'll go play. And we basically, great lads, but we basically took our big guys and put it where the fast players play and took all the fast players and put them where the big guys play. And I think we beat them over 100 points.
I get it.
And then afterwards, because what rugby is all about is when you play against other teams, you host them. So the Americans coming to our club, we host them afterwards. We give them free beer, free food, and that happens in all rugby. where even in America,
there's like a brotherhood.
It is a massive.
It's international. Even.
It is the largest brotherhood in the world,
yeah.
and sisterhood in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it is huge. It's
you
massive.
tell me that women play this game?
Oh, heck yeah.
Holy
The Rugby
cow.
World Cup is the Women's Rugby World Cup is on right now, and it's hard for me to say, but Canada just beat New Zealand in the semi. New Zealand was the two-time defending world champions, and Canada just beat them.
You mean the women?
The women.
What about the men? How do they rate?
New Zealand was number one in the world until last weekend when South Africa put a pretty good show on us.
Really?
And you've got to understand, rugby is life in New Zealand. When the New Zealand rugby team lose, the country is in a depression. We are very passionate. Our expectation of the New Zealand rugby team is you always win.
Did you ever play for the New Zealand team?
No. I've actually broken a lot of things, and that prevented me from going up into the higher level in New Zealand. But I'll tell you this: the New Zealand rugby team,
was it a dream of every
absolutely,
boy?
It's a dream of every kid in New Zealand to go play for New Zealand. It's an absolute dream. That is the ultimate goal. Because you've got to understand, in New Zealand, the New Zealand All Blacks, the All Blacks are our national team.
Okay.
They were given the award of being the number one sports team in the world. And here's the reason why.
Wow.
Over the last 100 years, their winning percentage is over 85%.
Wow.
No sports team in the world comes close. They were one of the most feared rugby teams in the world. And now the rest of the world has caught up with us.
Right. What are the other countries that have great teams? Australia?
Oh, my gosh. Australia, South Africa, Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, some Argentina, who are amazing right now. But, so when I met these American guys, one of them said to me, hey, would you like to come to America? We need a coach, and we'll bring you in and take care of you. And at that time, I was making that decision where I sat in my office and I said, I don't want to do this anymore.
So they offered you a trip to America.
Oh yeah,
to
come and coach and play. Yeah.
Do you get paid for that?
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid $65,000.
No, not even close.
Right,
But
it's pennies, right?
Yeah, it's pennies, but it was opportunity.
I get it. It gets you to the next level, at least in America.
Yep. So what I did was
invitation to come to the new world.
I thought about it.
And they give you a plane ticket, right, to pay for that.
But you got to think about it, Ross. My life was set up. I was set up with this Japanese company. Right. My life was set.
Right. You're a player.
Yeah, I was good. I was good to go. But
did you meet women in New Zealand during that time?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
I
was such an achiever in New Zealand. I'm training all the time, and then I took a couple of years off rugby and I did bodybuilding. So then I had the body as well, and then I went back to rugby, and I changed my whole entire life.
But you had women. You weren't married, right? You're still very young.
I wasn't married. I was still
young. Girlfriends, right? Yeah. You had.
Well, actually, when I was 19, that was when I had my first daughter. And I thought.
Slow down now.
I thought I was all that, Ross.
Slow
and a bag
down.
Of chips. Yeah, that's when I had my first daughter. I thought I was all that, and then you have a child, and it changes the game. Yeah.
Listen, I just want you to know I peaked at 19. When I was 19, that was my year.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to say it. 1976. At least in my mind, I was the king.
Yeah.
And this is your day today. All right. Now, I know a daughter didn't just knock on your door and say, Dad. So tell us about this real quick.
No, so I had a daughter.
Wow.
My first daughter.
You had a girl. First there was a woman before there was a daughter.
Yeah.
Who's this woman?
It was just a girl that I had met growing up, just going through my life and, thinking that I was all that. And then all of a sudden...
What was her name?
Denham is my daughter.
What is the baby mama's name?
Oh, Catherine.
So you didn't get married, correct?
No.
But you have this daughter and you choose to name her Denham.
Yep.
And what happened to Denham?
So I got custody of her when she was about 11, and she came to America.
Oh my goodness, that's good
So she
news.
lives here. She's married, and she lives here now. And
isn't that a great story?
Yeah, but
I was worried. When I ask these questions, sometimes I gotta take a deep breath because sometimes it's not so great.
No, it was
What happened to Catherine?
went on and lived her life, you know. But you got to understand.
Denim stayed in touch with her, right?
Yeah, she did. She stayed in touch with her mom afterwards. But like for me, it was when I was working at the mills. Like I was up around 24, 25, and I was thinking I don't want to do this. So then, when I made that decision to leave, a lot of circumstances were going on at that particular time, and me trying to see my daughter and all that kind of stuff.
So
and then this opportunity, I knew there was opportunity because of who I was too, and I knew, okay, if I come to America and I work hard, I can make a better life.
Correct.
And that's. And I when I met with my daughter and I told her everything that I was doing, and I just said, do everything you can.
She was a little kid
in school. She was a little kid, yeah.
And so you come to Chicago to play for this with these lads. I love the way you say that, the lads.
Yeah. Great guys.
How old are you when you come to America?
20. I was 25 when I came here.
Okay. Good age.
Yep.
Speak English.
Yep. So then when I came
different kind of English, but
Well, and when I came in, I started coaching that team. The first season that I was with them, coaching them, I took them to a national championship.
Well, I was going to say, because of your background in New Zealand and because in America, it's not our game.
Right.
Kids don't play that game, really. Right. It's not even offered in our high schools and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. You got to be a star player. You have to be a
some
great
of these
coach.
Guys are still some of my best friends today. I mean, they're still
I'm
around.
sure, because that's the kind of guy you are, and rugby has got that sort of camaraderie that you don't see in a lot of other sports. I've come to know through Greg and you and Chase. I'm being indoctrinated in the rugby world a little bit.
Well, for me, it was so amazing was because the majority of guys in the team that I played for, they were doctors, lawyers, corporate businessmen. They were professional people.
Exactly.
And, you fast forward today, and a great rugby guy is Mark Cuban.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, played at the University of Indiana.
How great is that?
Yeah, Indiana University.
So like real guys.
I remember at one point playing for this team in Chicago, the West Side Condors. We had 5 district attorneys playing for us.
Boy, that would come in handy.
Yeah, but I would say to them, what is going on with your job that you all want to come and play rugby? So, and that was the one thing is that when I came here, I saw opportunity.
I get it. So tell us about Chicago. What was it like for a little boy in New Zealand to come to the big bad streets of Chicago? Chicago's a great city. One of my favorite cities.
It is my favorite city.
It kills me to see what's happened to it now.
Yeah.
It
is sad. Very sad.
100 shootings on a weekend, 11 people die, and the mayor's like, we got this under control. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
There's only 100 shootings. I mean, what?
Well, I'll tell you, this is the type of person, Ross, and this is the type of person that you know that I am. So I came with another friend of mine, Tony Kiernan, came with me. We played for the same team.
Okay.
And he was a stud player, a hell of a player.
Okay.
And the first day, woke up, the next day when we landed, woke up the next day, and I looked at him and I said, hey, I walked outside and there's a train track right there. It was the L.
Okay.
And I said, I'm going to go out to the city of Chicago. And
the elevated trains, in case you don't know. It's a big New York Times crossword puzzle question.
Yes.
L's, E-L-S.
L's, yes. And I said to him, I said, I'm going to go into the city of Chicago. I'm going to go check it out. And he was like, you have no idea where you're going. You have no idea how to get into the city. And I'm like, well, I'm about to find out. I said, you want to go? He goes, oh, no, I'm not going with you. So I walked out. I walked around this L track trying to find a way to get up to the platform. And I had to ask this lady, she goes, well, go on that building, buy a ticket. And I went down the city of Chicago that day. My second day I was here. And that's the type of person that I am, is because I wanted to see what's here.
I get it.
Let's go and adventure. And that's what I did. And then, I just started coaching. And then, the job then was construction and work for a buddy of mine and work for a couple of Irish lads and building. And the crazy thing to me was we had a tour down to Miami.
Wow.
And on the flight back,
right.
And this is pretty funny. On the flight back, there was this beautiful blonde hopping on the plane. Now you got to understand, there were 40 rugby players on this plane.
I can't imagine.
And one of my buddies, Gordon Harris, we were the last to get on the plane, and I saw her walking onto the plane. And I'm like, oh my God, she's beautiful. And but all I'm thinking is there's 40 players on this. The plane's packed. I mean,
Right.
They're calling us. We get on the plane as we're walking down. Gordon Harris, this mountain of a man. He's big, and he was walking in front of me. The 2 seats that are available is right next to this girl. So we're walking down the aisle, and I push him forward past the seat, and then I sit in the middle seat right next to this girl, and we just started having a conversation, and that was my first wife.
You kidding me?
No.
That's how you met your wife?
That's how I met my wife, yeah.
And what's her name?
Leslie.
Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
You said your first wife.
Yep.
So we have a baby mama in New Zealand.
Yep.
And now you're 25 years old, correct?
Yep.
And you meet Leslie.
Yep. And I didn't see
What do you think of Miami?
Love Miami.
I mean, everybody goes to love Miami.
Love Miami, yeah. And, I was with 40 rugby players, and we played Miami. They were hosting us, so we had an amazing time. But, yeah, to meet this girl on the plane, I didn't speak to her again. We got to understand, cell phones weren't around then.
I understand. I'm old.
So, I met this girl on the plane, and
you got a number, though.
We just stayed connected.
You got a number.
We stayed connected, and address, and just stayed connected, wrote letters, and then talked on the home phone when we could. And after a year, she was going to school down in Tennessee.
She was a kid. She was younger than you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And she was going to school in Middle Tennessee State University. And then after a year, it was
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
My soul warrior, huh?
Yep.
I got it. All right, we'll get to that.
Yeah. And then I went down and saw her while I was down there.
Where did she live?
She lived in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And she was going to school at Middle Tennessee State University. Wow. So I went down to go visit. While I was down there, the rugby team down there heard I was coming down. And, I had already played Midwest All-Stars and Kafu, which was all select side rugby teams.
Right.
All the big boys. And so I was known.
It's like you have built-in friends wherever you go, as long as there's a rugby club, right?
Absolutely.
You have the mates, what you would call mates.
Yep.
These lads, you're like you just plug yourself in.
Yeah, and then so I went
it's really
down there.
It's a lovely thing, really.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. And so I went down there, and while I was down there, I did a couple of coaching clinics while I was down there. And
wow.
I remember when I went down there, Ross, I went to one of the high schools there, and they asked me to come in and do a little bit of a clinic there. I said, sure, absolutely. And I remember going, there was 126 kids came out to this rugby practice, coaches everywhere. And I'm like, when did they start doing rugby in Tennessee? It was so big. It was shocking, so huge. It was amazing. It was incredible. And then Middle Tennessee State University, I went and coached their men's side at the college.
Have a team there?
Yeah, they had a team. Yes, they are the was a sports club at the time, and they are the oldest sports club team at the university. This rugby team.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So so then I started coaching them, and then ended up moving down there to be with this girl, and we had I had 2 children with her afterwards. Long after.
Okay.
My son and my youngest daughter. My son Taylor, and then my youngest daughter Morgan.
So you actually got married.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How old were you when you got married to Leslie?
I would have been probably 26, 27.
Oh, still very young.
Yeah, I was still young.
You're moving quickly, boy. You're moving. You're making moves.
Yep.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And so you have a son. Is the firstborn from Leslie?
Yes.
And how old is he?
Taylor.
What's his name?
Taylor.
Yep. And where does he live now?
Taylor lives in Myrtle Beach,
South Carolina.
Lovely
place.
And then my daughter Morgan lives in Central Illinois, Kansas, Illinois.
There's a place called Kansas, Illinois?
There's a place called Kansas, Illinois.
You learn something new every day.
Yes.
Kansas, Illinois, little shout out.
Yeah, and my little girl is
Morgan.
she's a country girl. She just got engaged about 3 weeks ago to her man Luke, who's a great kid, great man.
So I got to ask you. So you have three children now.
Yes,
2 different women.
Yep.
Are you a grandfather yet?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. It's like my dream right now. People say to me, Russ, what's your bucket list?
Yeah.
I want to walk my daughters down the aisle, and even if they don't do that, I want to be a grandfather.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Well, and my oldest daughter, she lives in Chicago. She's married to Greg, her husband, and they have 3 kids. And then
your oldest daughter is
Denham, the one from New Zealand.
Right. So now she's an American.
Yes, she's been here. She's been here a long time. Yeah, she's been here a long time.
That's
and
lovely.
her mom is actually Leslie. That's her mom. That's Leslie helped me raise her when we brought her over here, and was an incredible mom to her. And then even when...
Hold on. Denham's daughter.
Yep, Denham's daughter
was
from
raised
New
by
Zealand,
Leslie.
Was raised by Leslie when we... Was raised by both of us when she came to America.
You had custody.
Yeah.
I forgot. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So this is very... This is like good. I'm learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm learning. There's a lot of depth to this guy here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then...
I have such a simple story. It's crazy.
Yeah. So what's amazing, do you remember Mr. Holden, the beginning
of
this story? So my mom was sick. My mom was really, really sick. And she was 63 at the time, and had 2 massive brain tumors.
Oh, God. I'm sorry.
And, they gave her a month to live. So I flew back to New Zealand. And you know who the first person I went and saw?
Mr. Holden.
Mr. Holden. And at that time, he was a very old, very frail old man. I knew Ross that was going to be the last time I would ever see him. I
understand that too.
So I went and saw Mr. Holden and knocked on his door, and his eyes opened up. Very, very frail old man. And I grabbed his arm. We went and sat at the table in his kitchen.
Not the tree stump.
Not the tree stump, but we sat at the table at his kitchen, and he just wanted to know, catch me up. And, just that same light in his eyes when every other story, whenever I used to come back and sit down with him and we'd talk. And
now when you want to catch people up, you just give them my YouTube channel.
Yeah, 100%.
And they watch this video.
Yeah.
That's the power of what we're doing right now.
Well, I'll tell you, Ross, this was probably one of the most beautiful moments of my life. Was I told Mr. Holden my story and my journey and called him up on my life. And as I was leaving, I knew this was going to be the last time I was ever going to see him.
And your mom.
And my mum. Yeah. And I said to Mr. Holden, I said, I got to go. And love seeing you, gave him a hug. And I said, hey, I need you to come with me. And I took him around my arm, holding him up. And I walked him to the backyard. And I sat him on that tree stump.
Oh, that's great.
And I said, thank you. Because if it wasn't for what he did, this Maori kid that was living in a
living the American dream.
Yeah, horrible situation in New Zealand. And he just took the time. And I just thought he was this grumpy old man that just yelled at us when we were playing the front. He was.
But he was a lot more than that.
But then when I got to know him.
Correct.
And he would tell me stories. And he'd play this accordion. That's when I knew he was having a beer, because I'd hear his foot stomping and him playing this accordion. But, that was such a beautiful moment for me to thank a man that truly changed my life.
Great story.
So, so then, I started coaching and started playing, getting a pretty good reputation as a rugby player around the United States, coming out of Chicago.
Still working in construction, correct?
Yeah, still working in construction. But then once I got married...
Now you got a wife and you got a kid.
Yeah, so then I started getting into the corporate...
And you had Denham with you, right?
Yes.
You're lugging Denham with you.
Yes, so 100%. Yeah.
Jesus, a very complicated story here.
Yeah.
I don't know how you manage. I have 2 daughters with a woman I was married to for 20 plus years, and I can't even keep track of my little life. And you're all over the place. New Zealand is not like going to Montreal.
No.
It's the other side of the planet.
Well, I'll tell you what's crazy is
But it is the other side of the planet. I want people to know that.
Yeah.
It's like a 22-hour flight.
22-hour flight,
with 18 different time zones. Yeah. Literally 18.
Yeah.
So you're like, what?
Yeah. But, when my wife graduated college, then we moved back by her hometown, by all her family, who are amazing and wonderful people. And we moved back to Kansas, Illinois. You got this guy from New Zealand in a town of 800 people.
I can't even imagine.
And I knew everybody, and
everybody knew you.
Everybody knew me, and I would actually at the time I was still coaching and playing in Chicago, so I'd drive up to Chicago, and then, it was a 3.5 hour drive, and I was driving up there playing, and then I was playing sevens. Then I'd have a team that I was playing for called Elvis at the Opry, and they would fly me into games and wouldn't practice with them. And that team, we went to 4 national championships.
Wow.
It was an amazing bunch of guys, an incredible bunch of guys. And then I think it would have been 2011, I had a guy by the name of Ty Lantry gave me a call, and he was like, this is the USA National All-Star Championships. This is the best players in the country. And Ty Lantry called me, and I'd played at this tournament. I'd played for the Midwest. I played for the South. And Ty Lantry called me, Lance, I need you to come play for the West. He says, we're number 16. We're the bottom of the table. And he said, we can do something. His first time ever coaching the West. And I said, man, I don't even know you. He goes, oh, no, I've heard all about it. You need to come play for us. And I love the underdog story.
Right.
I love that stuff. So I said, okay, I'm going to bring a few players with me, which I brought some of the guys, some of the studs that I knew.
Right.
They were battle-hardened. And I said, you bring the rest. So there's 12 players in a team that go into this All-Star National Championship, best players in the country. We show up. And he brought players from coming out of Denver. Johnny Nikita, who Johnny is played for the United States. He was a young kid when he came and played for us. And we show up and we only had 8 players. At one of the biggest tournaments in the country.
And it's 15, you said?
Playing sevens.
Oh, this is sevens. So 7 on 7.
7 on 7.
High-level players play 7 on 7.
The best in the country.
The best in the world, really, right? It's 7 on 7.
So the crazy part of it is that you have 12 players because you have 7 players, but then the rest of them, the other 5 are your subs. So if somebody gets hurt,
of course I get it.
You're getting
you only had 8.
Gets tired.
You only had 8.
We had 8.
That's crazy.
And here's the funniest story about that. We had 7, and the coach brought this kid, Robert Fisher, never forget, a college kid at the time. And I was like, hey, we need a sub. And he's like, no, I'll come to watch the tournament. I'm like, nope. Now you're playing. You'll never get on the field. Don't worry about it. You'll never get on the field. We'll play out.
Right.
And we went to this tournament, and we were a brotherhood because that's what I coach. When I played,
you're not playing. You're playing for this team. You're coaching this team.
I'm playing.
Okay.
And I lead by example.
I love it.
And my expectation is very high. Everything I do in business is high. You come up here. I don't go down here. We come up here.
I love it.
And this team, we know one plays 16. So we played Pacific, who were the number 1 team out of California, the number 1 team in the country at the time. And they beat us by 2 points.
Tight game.
Yeah, but one plays 16. No one was looking at us. We weren't even looking.
I get it.
So we go through this tournament. I've got this team humming. And I got studs. And we beat the Midwest, we beat the East, we beat the South. 2-day tournament, come the next day, we're in the quarterfinals. And that night I said, all right, boys, you can go for a beer, but take it easy. Had a beer, just one. But we went to this Italian restaurant, we're all singing, and then the coach goes, hey, Lance, we're in the quarterfinals tomorrow. I'm like, oh, boys, let's get out of here. We got a big game tomorrow. But it was so laid back in our minds.
Yep.
Because everyone on the team had booked their flight right after the tournament because we didn't think we were going to go very far.
Right, you had no expectation.
Right? So then we came the next day, knocked the I believe it was the Midwest off in the quarterfinals. Then we get through the semifinals, we get into the finals, playing against the East, and won the game in the last second. So we won the National All-Star Championships, being the last team that nobody looked at.
Right, the lowest
And they
ranked.
called us the grade 8. And that college kid came on in the final game and scored a try.
What does a try mean?
Like a touchdown.
Very nice.
And he scored a try. It was amazing, and we're getting the trophy, we're getting our medals, and it's like, let's go. No, we'd all booked our flights to get out of here. So it was a hug and great job.
gotta go.
And yeah, and we got to go. And, I played multiple All-Star tournaments. That was in the great days when they had that All-Star tournament. That was the kind of like the path to get to play for the U.S. national team.
Did you ever get a chance to play for the U.S. national team?
No, I actually went out and played. I actually went to 3 trials for the USA team. Went to the Olympic Village in Chula Vista and trained with all those boys. And then I played for the Classic Eagles. But yeah, man, I mean, my career, I had the most beautiful career and played for some of the best players in the country and played against some of the best players.
Professional career.
Yep.
You're a professional rugby player.
Yeah.
I love it. And
but then it was then I
you could never make a living doing that, correct?
Not in America.
Even a professional rugby player.
No, no. If you're playing around the world, like Japan right now is huge. They're paying out. France is another big professional.
Well, my guess
country.
is if you were a 25-year-old Lance right now, or 20-year-old Lance,
oh yeah,
you'd be a stud. You'd be making a living playing
You'd
rugby.
be making a living playing rugby.
Right. Maybe not football money, basketball money, but you're making probably six figures.
Yep. But you're making enough money
Right.
to retire when you go back to New Zealand.
Right.
You don't need a lot in New Zealand.
Right.
Me.
But you're also getting endorsements if you're very good, right?
Yes.
All these different things today.
Alana Mayer right now is one of the biggest women rugby players.
I can't believe women ever.
Oh, I'm telling you, her social media, she's got millions and millions.
Well, now with social media and everybody in rugby is like a brother. I've gotten to know that.
Yeah.
But I want to keep the story moving.
Yeah,
So
100%.
you're married, Leslie. You got two kids. You're living in
Central Illinois,
Nowheresville, Illinois.
Yep.
You're playing in Chicago. And you're working a job. You're doing what?
Yeah. When I was in Kansas, Illinois, I started. Well, at first I was working for a cable company like fiber optics.
I got it.
So then I was working out of Indianapolis, working for a fiber company. I was the director of the company, and we'd do universities and everything, installing fiber optics at the time where there were no main trunk lines of fiber.
Right. The beginning of
right in the beginning of it all,
telecommunications.
Yep. So then I worked for that company out of Indianapolis, had crews all over the country, and then the company ended up folding, and I started my own fiber optics company, security company. We do install fiber optics and cameras, and did that for quite a few years, and built up a business there, and then got into personal training, which I love personal training. And at that time, the marriage was kind of on the rocks and heading in all different directions.
How long were you married to Leslie before you divorced?
11 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So what I did was, I got into corporate business, and we moved up to Chicago.
We moved to family now.
Yep. Moved back to Plainfield, Illinois.
About time. I'm playing.
Yeah. So we moved to Plainfield, Illinois, and I worked for Chicago Office Technology Group, and worked up there for quite a few years, and then kind of the relationship started going a different direction, and she moved back to Kansas, Illinois, and I stayed up there and just carried on working, but my kids were everything to me, so I drove the 3.5 hours, and I didn't miss games and recitals and all that, and I was a dad, and I love my children. And, the most beautiful part about Leslie and I, which is a great part of the story, is when we were going through our divorce, there was a lot of anger within that first year. But, like I said to her, your mum, I'm dad, where are you going? These children are going to be in our lives for the rest of our lives, and 100%. We're going to be in each other's lives for the rest 100%. Of our lives. And that was the most beautiful part about her and I, is that we became the best mum and dad. And we had the utmost respect for each other. We supported each other, and that's what And
where is she today?
She's remarried, got an amazing man, Adam, great husband that loves my kids, and
very nice.
Her and her husband live in Myrtle Beach, where my son is.
Right. Oh, South Carolina. Okay, beautiful. Yep. Myrtle Beach is a common thread here. Yeah. So let's keep the story moving. I want to know.
So then, from Chicago. Then what I did was while I was in Chicago, then I met my second wife. And
what was her name? What is her name?
Leah.
Leah. Okay, very biblical.
Yeah. So then I met Leah, and we just hit it off. I mean, we You
meet her in a bar, a date?
No, actually,
getting on a plane.
It was on one of the dating apps.
A dating app,
which I hate.
You remember which one?
I think it was Hinge.
Okay, I'm told that's
but
very popular.
The crazy part of it
Stevie loves Hinge right now. He's flying.
Well, the crazy part for me was, I just went on there a Sunday afternoon, and the first person that popped up was her, and I just said, "Hey, you want to meet? Want to get together for lunch or dinner?" And we met and went to Old Town in Chicago, and. I walked in, there was her stomping ground, and so she had her friends in the background kind of checking me out, and she was an amazing woman. I mean,
you said she was an amazing woman. Is she deceased?
No. We we divorced a couple of years ago.
So how long were you married to Leah?
For just over a year.
1 year. So no children.
No children. Nope.
All right. Thank God.
And
I'm breathing easier now.
Yeah. So we, we were together for 4 years.
Oh, okay. But married for 1.
Yeah, married for 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at this point in your life, what were you doing for business?
I was doing personal training at the time.
Okay, so that's been something for you that first you love it,
so
you know it.
Yep, I loved it, and I was, like a lot of my clients, I had a lot of high-end clients, and I was
Chicago.
Yep, in Chicago, and at that time I was doing, I got out of corporate business, I just couldn't do it, so I started my own personal training business. Then I worked for Lifetime Fitness for a while.
I know them well,
and I was in probably one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Chicago. So I built a huge client list. At that time, I was doing life coaching and all that kind of stuff, which basically mental health and life coaching I was doing through coaching rugby through my whole life, because, you experience every type of personality you can possibly imagine.
Now, how long ago was that?
From here, I'm going to say probably 6-7 years ago.
Okay, so it's the recent past.
Yeah, it's a recent past.
Now, I know somewhere in your CV, you go to New Zealand, you're on the New Zealand snowboarding team?
Bobsledding.
Bobsledding. Well, how does that, just explain how that, where does that fit in?
So I was 41 at the time, and I get this call, and the brakeman for the New Zealand bobsled team, and I was in America at the time, and the brakeman for the New Zealand bobsled team had tore his Achilles, and they were looking for a brakeman. And the guy called me, and he's like, yeah, we need a brakeman. And I was like, I've never seen a bobsled in my life. And I said, I'm stateside. And he goes, yeah, no, that's okay. You'll go train out of the Olympic Village in Lake Placid.
My goodness.
And I was like, I'm in. Count me in.
You're going to play for you're going to work. You're to be on the New Zealand Olympic bobsled team.
Yeah. And the funny thing was that, and this is the honest truth, Ross.
It's a great story.
I got off the phone, went to YouTube, and I put in training for bobsledding. Swear to God. Because I'd never seen a bobsled.
I get it. You're very fit.
Yeah.
You're very fit.
So I went and bought a sled.
Before your injuries and all that.
Yeah. So I went and bought a sled, and I just started pushing the sled up and down a football field for hours, right? Then they flew me up to
Lake Placid,
up the Olympic Village, and the US boys were up there, and they started teaching me. They had it's like a frame on a track, a frame of a bobsled on a track, and you're just learning how to push and all the skill sets of learning how to push. So I went up there, started training, and then I was up there for about a month, learning how to push a bobsled and all the technique and form of doing it. And it was the complete opposite of what I learned on YouTube, just so you know.
I get it.
And then they flew me to Austria, and they went on to the world circuit, and I started pushing. That was the first place I pushed a bobsled down a track. And the funniest story about that is my driver at the time, Joe, was, telling me, you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm like, wait, slow down, don't overwhelm me on this.
Right.
Let's just push it down. Just tell me what I have to do. He's like, jump in, put your head down. When you get to the end of the track, you're going to go over the finish line. And remember, the track just ends, and they have padding and everything in the end, but you got to brake way before you get there. And once you go over,
the brakeman.
I was the brakeman. And here's the thing: you do not put it's claws and it's 2 handles, and you pull them up, and they dig into the ice, and that's what slows you down and stops you. And there's an opening in the ice, and you flip the sled and you take it out. So he's giving me all this advice. I said, whoa, just tell me what I need to do. He said, jump in. Put your head down. When we go over the finish line, lift up and brake, and you're going to stop, and we'll take the sled out. I said, okay, easy enough. That's what he didn't tell me. We have a helmet on. You're in a skin suit, and once you jump in, all you're hearing is wind. It's loud as it can possibly.
You're going fast, right?
85, 90 miles an hour. And a box coming off the top of a mountain. You're hitting 4 to 6 Gs in every corner.
I can't even imagine.
And so what he didn't tell me, it was so loud.
Yeah.
So we go over the finish line.
You should have been breaking a little bit already.
Oh, I should have been breaking.
A long way before.
But my head's still down. Yeah.
Oh, your head is down.
And he's screaming, put the brake on, put the fucking brake on. You
can't hear a thing.
And I can't hear a thing. And he starts hitting me and I lift up and he's like, put the brake on. So I'm anchoring.
Right.
We're about 2 feet away from the end of the bobsled track. And I stop and go, why didn't you put the brake on? I'm like, well.
Did you crash in the end?
No. Nope. I stopped 2 feet away, 2 feet away. I managed, and then it was, okay, now I get it.
So when we call you an Olympic athlete, we could say that in all honesty.
And bobsledding.
Just you're an Olympic athlete.
No.
Okay. You didn't compete?
Didn't compete.
What happened?
We weren't that good.
So you didn't make it?
Didn't make it.
Okay, but at least you're on the team.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I never even knew a bobsled it was such a
But
big deal.
I got to travel the world. I got to travel all over the world. I was in
So you're on the national team.
Switzerland.
You're on the national team.
Oh,
You just didn't make the Olympics.
Yeah, just didn't make the Olympics.
But you competed on the national team and you went around the world.
Yep.
Right. That's crazy. I think of
St. Moritz, Switzerland.
Right. I think of the Swiss, the Swedes, Norway, Finland.
Oh yeah. The Germans, the
Germans,
Russians.
the Russia. Oh yeah.
But you know what, Russ? Here's the crazy part is these guys were 6'8".
Oh my goodness.
Getting into a bobsled, it was tight for me.
Right.
They were 6'8".
But they grow up doing this, just like you were playing rugby, they were doing this their whole life.
I'll never forget when I was racing in Austria and, you're up there till late at night and you look and you see these kids that are 8, 9 years old going down on...
I get it.
Going down these mountains and we're pushing bobsleds down.
I get it 100%.
Most incredible thing I've ever seen.
So my mother was a skier, right? She fancied herself like a real skier.
Yeah.
And so we grew up. I was born in Brooklyn. And we quickly moved to Rockland County, New York, and we were near a place called Bear Mountain. Okay, and I'll never forget. I was right around 3 years old, and my mother takes me up in a lift. I was too young to remember, but all I remember was we were going down a mountain skiing, and I was like, well, this is wild. But my mom was, was going between her legs.
Wow.
And I'm skiing.
Yeah.
I'm doing, but my mother's, between what I didn't realize is my mother had let me go after 2 seconds. And I was going down the whole time. I learned a big lesson from this much later in life, and I could share it.
Yeah.
The second I realized, where's my mother? I've been going down this hill. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
That's how you learn, right?
Yep.
And of course, the second I realized I wasn't between my mother's legs anymore, she wasn't holding on to me, I panicked. I went into fear. I froze, and of course I fell. But my mother told me I went down half the mountain on my own.
That's the only way to learn.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I became a skier very young. And that's the point is you learn these things when you're young. You're bobsledding. They just put you in because you're an athlete and you happen to be a native New Zealand.
Well, and the crazy part of it was the injury started catching up.
Well, that's what I want to get to now.
Yeah, because the training was unreal. Like the training that we used to do was crazy.
It's highly specialized though for that kind of thing, right? It's
like lateral box jumping with 45-pound bar.
Which, by the way, in your personal training career now, that gave you more.
100%.
Absolutely. It gave you like for power and lift. I see them. Everyone's doing these box jumps now.
Yep.
I trained my whole life, but we very rarely ever did anything like that. Even when I was doing fight training, we did a little bit of that, but not so much. Different footwork. So, but I understand your story, so I want to jettison forward now a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
We have 2 ex-wives.
Yep. 2
baby mamas.
Well, and that's
3 serious women in your life.
Yep.
And I know there's going to be another one.
Yep.
Because this is the story, the one story I knew. So now you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
So
and
that's where you really made your base in America.
Yeah.
Pretty
absolutely.
much. Okay.
Yeah.
And because I know you from the West Coast of Florida.
Right.
That's all I know,
So the crazy part was, when COVID hit.
Okay.
Leah and I were married, and I came into her business, which was skincare. And she had a business on Holstead in Chicago. And when she asked me to come in and help her, I'm like, absolutely. And so I started helping her running her business. And then what happened was COVID hit.
Okay.
And then we decided we'd actually come down to Anna Maria Island for Valentine's. And it was beautiful. It was amazing. So then when COVID hit, my thought process, Ross, was, okay, I don't want to be in a city where you're taking away jobs and money. So we made the decision to come down to Anna Maria Island.
To Florida.
Yep.
To actually move.
Yep. To move down.
Now, that says, Governor Ron DeSantis, right?
Mm-hmm.
What a governor. Shout out to Governor Ron. Mm-hmm. The best state of Florida is the best. It's the most highly effective managed state in America.
Well, so the crazy part for us was I remember calling the guy down at Anna Maria Island, and we were saying, okay, so what's happening down there with this COVID? He was like, everything's shutting down, cancellations, and
the whole country.
Yeah, but we had paid, I think, about $400 a night. We came down for that weekend, and I said to him, hey, so what's happening down? Everyone's leaving, and I said, okay, so if we're coming down, and he's like, we'll give you the place $50 a night.
Oh, great deal.
All right, so we came down. And I think Florida was closed probably 2 or 3 months.
De minimis, though, relative to the country.
I think about 2 or 3 months. So in the time that we were here, my Leah and I, we decided, I was like, well, why don't we open up a store down here? So the whole entire time through COVID, I'm filling out applications, businesses, licenses, and all of that. And then as soon as it opened up, we opened a location on Anna Maria Island. And so then Illinois was still closed.
Oh, terrible.
Oh, almost 2 years.
Fat governor, Pritzker. Oh, what a loser.
Almost 2 years.
Next to California, the most mismanaged state in America.
Yeah. Yeah, it still is.
It still is.
So almost 2 years. But, we were still going up there. And then what happened was we opened up on Anna Maria Island. And then once they started opening up there, then we got a message from the landlord from her Holstead location. And a couple of her employees tried to take over her business, right? So The landlord basically was saying, you're out. So then I had to fly back. We packed it up. Then we moved to another location in the city of Chicago. And then we were opened up. And then who we partnered with at that particular time, they saw who we were bringing in. We had a big clientele list. And all of a sudden, they wanted more money. And we were living down here at the time, and they said, well, we want more money, so we had to move again. Then we moved to State and Chestnut, where the location is there right now. And at the same time, we'd opened another location on Anna Maria Island. So now we had 2 locations down here.
So Leah's running this business.
The both of us are. We're both running this business.
Between Illinois and
Florida. Yep.
And you're living now in Florida.
Yep. And so then we ended up closing.
And you sell skincare products?
Well, not just skincare products. She was an esthetician, so she did skincare and everything from
all these cosmetic things, right?
Yeah, everything cosmetic. So then we ended up closing the 3rd Street location on Anna Maria Island, just because of the location we were right next to the bridge, but it was So then we closed that one, and then we opened up another one on Cortez in Bradenton, Florida. And that location and then the location in Chicago was still existing. And then I started coaching in Nashville at Murfreesboro at Middle Tennessee State University. Full circle, come back. So I started coaching in Nashville. And at that time, I started getting sick. I was getting out of breath. Shout out to all my people. Make sure you go get a calcium score done. Vitally important. And so what happened was we closed the other location on the island.
This is with Leah?
This is with Leah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so then I was coaching. Things were happening, happening between us, which weren't going well. And then I was coaching in Tennessee. I accepted a coaching contract up there. They're paying me to do it. And so part of the contract was I said, you got to fly me home every week so I can spend time with my wife. And so, like, wherever we were playing, after the game, I'd go to the airport and then fly home, spend time with my wife.
Very stressful.
And then come back on a Tuesday. Life. Yeah. But what happened was, I was traveling almost every week, and I was getting out of breath. So I would be at the airport, walk 3 gates, and I'd have to sit down. You look at it, Ross, I'm an athlete.
Well, more than an athlete, you were a rugby player.
Right.
All you do is run.
Yep.
And now you can't even walk.
So I'd convinced myself totally that it was long-haul COVID. That's what I thought it was.
I can understand. I'm that kind of guy too.
Yeah, so I was traveling, I was coaching, and then Dr. Debbie at Turning Tides in Florida, I'd stopped in and seen her, and I was telling her my symptoms, and she said, Lance, I'm going to set you up with a friend of mine. You need to go get tested. So I went and got a calcium score, and at that time I was in Florida.
That's a CT scan, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I just had one, by the way.
Yeah.
And I have a bad score on one artery.
Then go get checked, brother.
I have a cardiology appointment coming up.
Yeah, so then from there, I got the call, and they said, go see a cardiologist. But at that time, I was back in Tennessee coaching. Okay. And so I went and saw a cardiologist, and my resting heart rate at that time was between 182 and 196, extremely high.
Ridiculous? What do you mean?
Ridiculous. Yeah. So I was an AFib, and all of a sudden I'm really sick. So I ended up going into the hospital 5 times, getting my heart shocked 5 times to get me out of AFib. The 5th time it finally held.
Even with the paddles?
Even with the paddles.
Did you have a heart attack?
No.
It was just your heart was just racing.
It was racing. It was unbelievable, and the cardiologist was focused on.
You needed stents or open heart surgery.
Well, that didn't come until a little bit later. Okay. So I was getting my heart shocked, and the 5th time I was on, as an AFib, and I was taking medication at the time, and the 5th time it finally held, got me out of AFib, and then so I texted the cardiologist and I said, okay, I'm out of AFib. What's the next step? What's going to happen? He was like, no, you're good. I'll see you in 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
You figure you're good, right? I get it.
I said to him, so I go back and train and run. He goes, yep. So I went back and started running and training, and I could barely run. So I'm just thinking, well, I've been sick, so maybe that's all it is.
We make all these excuses.
So I was, stupidly, I started taking 2 to 3 nitroglycerin every time I ran, which is basically an explosion of the heart to pump blood into your heart. So I started running. I could barely run, and I was fighting every single time. So then I called the cardiologist, and I said, nope, there's something wrong.
Yep.
And he said, okay, come in. And I begged him, so advocate for yourself. I highly recommend you advocate for yourself. So I said, do the dye test. He did the dye test. He called me at 6:00 a.m. in the morning and said, get to the emergency room now. Went into the emergency room. Cardiologist came in and said, you need a double bypass.
Thank God.
So, told my wife everything that was going on. And that was the last time I spoke to her.
Slow down. Wait a minute. So, where are you when you get this call from the cardiologist?
I'm in Tennessee.
All right. So he says, get to the emergency room.
Yep.
I understand it. Where's Lee at the time?
Florida.
Okay. So you go to the emergency room. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but I know you well enough.
Oh, yes.
And I've heard this story. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a story.
Yeah.
So you go to the hospital, and what happens?
They put me into hospital, and
they admit
me. And I'm getting a double bypass.
They tell you right away.
They tell me right
Mr.
away.
Houia, we have
you are 95% block of your widowmaker, your main arteries. And at first I went in to get a stent done. I was in the operating theater probably 10 minutes, and the doctor turned around and said, nope, you're not getting a stent.
You're conscious during this time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. And he turned around because the crazy part of it was I'm sitting in this operating theater. They're about to put the stent in. He turns around and says, hey, everybody leaves. He turns around and said, you're going for a double bypass. And then within 3 days, I was going for open heart surgery.
So they let you leave and then come back?
No. They kept me in hospital.
Oh, yeah, kept you in.
And I called my kiddos, and all my kiddos came in. And I never. That was the last.
Not Leah?
No, that was the last conversation I had with Leah.
What happened to Leah? Well, let's get to it.
I don't know. To be honest with you.
So now you get this double bypass.
Yes, sir.
All right, and you wake up in the.
I wake up in the hospital.
And what? What happens? To
the
best of your recollection.
Yeah, no. So
and how many years ago was this?
How
many years ago?
2.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay.
And so I wake up in a hospital, and I've got tubes and everything coming out of me, and my kiddos are there. All my kids are there, and
All
God
your
bless.
kids?
All my kids, Denham, Taylor, and Morgan, they're all there.
Wow, that's a good.
God bless.
They love their dad. I'm very pleased to hear that.
Well, I tell you, Ross, I think what the craziest
What
part
about their
for me-
moms? The moms weren't there.
No.
Right.
But the craziest part for me was, a stubborn man where I was just like, you don't need to be here. What are you going to do? Sit there and stare at me? And the realization was when they were wheeling me in for my surgery, my kids were running down the hallway, the realization that could have been the last time I ever saw them.
Of course, you might never see you again.
But that was so heavy for me because I woke up and that was still on my mind.
Right.
So, so then I received, I'm in recovery, and, I told them to get me up, and I started walking the next day.
Okay.
Because I was bound and determined, the athlete in me.
Did they crack your rib cage?
Yes, cut me open. Yep. Split my chest open, and I have a titanium plate that's inside my chest right now.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
I'm playing.
But no, so then I got divorce papers while I was in recovery.
You were in the hospital?
Yep.
That Leah boy, she really...
Well, I mean, I put it down to everybody walks a road. And, I don't want to make excuses.
So you tell her you spoke to the cardiologist, right?
Yep.
And you have to go right
Told
to the
everything
emergency
what's going
room.
on. Well, as soon as I found out that I was having heart trouble, we talked, and the conversation was, we'll take care of this. Everything's going to be okay. And that was kind of like the last conversation that we had.
Right.
And then the divorce papers came, and I was going through it.
When you woke up.
But I couldn't deal
When you
with
woke up, right?
When I woke up, yeah, the next day.
Right. So she could say she broke your heart.
Yeah.
We're playing.
But
right now.
what? To be honest with you, for me, it was divorce saved my life, and all I focused on was saving my life.
Well, here's the thing. So I know what happens after.
Yeah,
right? But the audience doesn't. So,
yeah.
You have an emergency surgery, and listen, when they break up, when you're going for open heart surgery, they make you sign a million things.
Yep.
That says there's a very good chance we're going to kill you.
Yep.
Well, you're not going to survive. Is how they phrase it.
Yep.
So you absolve us of everything.
Yep.
Essentially.
And here's the crazy part: the next day, my right lung collapsed, and they couldn't even take me out of the room. They did it right in the room, injected. Cut a hole in the side of my neck and put it to
While
me.
you're getting open heart surgery?
No, this was after. This was the next day.
The next day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the divorce papers come a day or two later.
Yep.
So she serves you
Yep.
while you're in ICU,
Yep.
essentially.
Yep.
I mean, even by John's standard, that's pretty cold. I mean, in my opinion. I would have, if I hated you, I would have let you,
But you know what, though, Ross? I thought about
Leah,
this.
shame on you.
Yeah, but
I hope you're watching this.
I thought about this because... what was in her mind? What if I would have had a stroke? What if I would have been paralyzed?
Next thing you know, your half of the business goes to the kids.
Right.
So she's thinking like a business person.
Nope.
No.
Yes. Well, sorry. What I was thinking was
You're next to
divorce or life, and I was fighting for my life. So I took nothing. I signed it.
You signed the papers. You said,
Keep it all.
go.
Yep.
Okay.
And I focused on my life. So the next day, my right lung collapsed, so they had to put the tube down. 2 days after that, my left lung collapsed. So I was in the fight of my life.
Wow.
So worrying about all of that stuff was the last thing I was worried about.
Yeah.
And so, when they talk about your whole world collapses around you,
your heart and your two lungs, there's nothing more important than these three things.
But in everything, the story that I'm telling you today, you can see I'm a resilient man, and I came out of hospital, everything turned around. I had a very dear friend of mine that stepped up for me. Her name was Heather.
Okay.
And she stepped up for me where I had nothing. There was everything was gone.
You lost everything.
Lost everything.
You had your three children, and at least they were in your life to some extent. But
and everything was
you had
gone.
nowhere to live, right? You didn't have
nowhere to live.
Nowhere to live, no money.
And Heather
no assets. She took everything. So what happens though with Heather and?
No. So she stepped up and she said, you come to my house and recover at my house. And
what a woman!
This was literally a person that I just met.
Where is Heather now?
She's still in Tennessee.
She's just still in your life, or?
Yeah, we're still friends. We're still great, and we'd always been friends. That's what that was all about.
I understand.
And she was amazing. And then I remember coming out of hospital and went to her house. I couldn't move. And I didn't take any of the pain medication. I had morphine. I had more painkillers than you could possibly imagine. But in my mind, mentally, I said, no, I want to be clear. And I knew I'm in the fight of my life, and it begins now. And when I came out of hospital, I could barely move. I could barely walk. And I laid down for a week. And all that went through my mind was, now it's time to change. All the mental stuff that I'd learned through my whole entire career, now it was time for that warrior to stand up. Now it was my time. And so I started creating My Soul Warrior.
Tell everybody what that is.
So My Soul Warrior is an online program that I'd created over a 2-year period. But did I really create it over 2 years? No, I created over a 35-year career, which I'd been working through mental health, life coaching, personal training, my own personal life that I'd been creating for over 2 years, over 37 year of my lifespan. So I created My Soul Warrior, which is an online mental health program. And I based it around 5 pillars, mental skills training that we use every single day, staying in the present, mental focus, dumping mental baggage. And when I was done motivational speaking, I've done over 20 years, and then I spoke about mental skills training. And the crazy part was when I got out of hospital and I opened up a bag of mine and my mental skills training fell out. And then that idea came into my head was like, look at everything that I'm going to, look at everything, all the people that have been in my life and the struggles and depression and anxieties and everything that I've witnessed and worked with my entire life. That fruition, that paper fell out, and I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I literally locked myself into an office, chest cracked open, lost everything in my life, and I created this online mental health program called My Soul Warrior. 5 pillars, mental skills training that we need every single day, physical fitness and nutrition, personal training side of me, right, that we need every single day, career development and leadership. Where am I going? What's my goals?
What are you going to do with yourself?
What I'm going to do with myself. Emotional mastery, how to handle your emotions, how to control your emotions, and spirituality, because there are many times through my journey that I'd met with God. And let me tell you, when I was sitting in Tennessee, my chest cracked open, I gave myself up and I said, you got to show me the road. It's in your hands. It's not in mine. And he showed me. And I created this program, over 170 recordings, over 90 videos of everything about this message of mental health. It's the tools. It's giving you the tools of how to deal with life and how to deal with all these challenges that come into our life. And my passion, my life, my everything was that helped me create all of this, my entire journey that I talked about today. It came down to this moment, to rebuilding my life. And I threw myself into it, and that's how My Soul Warrior is created. And I didn't even talk about True Self, was the social media platform I created 9 years ago, where I was looking at social media and the social narrative and what was happening, what's happening with our children today. And I created True Self, which is who, in the world we live today, we're not losing our freedoms. That's the last thing we're losing. We're losing our authentic selves. And if you look at the narrative of social media, we have to change that narrative. Look at our children. Children are killing themselves by suicide. Look at the shootings and the mass shootings that are going right now. The answer is shootings. That's what's happening, instead of conversations and what we do in mental health, because mental health is the key. And we have to make that change. We have to change the social narrative. So literally, when I created True Self, I created the cart. I didn't create the horse. But then when I created My Soul Warrior, I created the horse, because the combination of those two things is what's going to change the world. Because we have to address mental health. We have to look at the social narrative of mental health. And we got to look at what's going on with our children. Because, Ross, you think about it, it is something that it always existed, and it keeps repeating itself. Because you think about it, when we went to school, there were the bullies. There were the jocks. There were the cheerleaders, right? So you already have those separated groups. Even before social media came out, it was in the school. And nowadays, right? Now, today, it is within seconds you can cyberbully.
True.
But the existence of it has always been there.
Correct.
So in today's world, and creating mental health is creating resilience.
Technology has amplified everything, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at this, and I hate to bring it up, this poor Charlie Kirk, who I adored him. I loved this guy. No matter how excited, frantic, crazy or manic people would come at him, he was calm. He was clear. He says, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's discuss this. and he would present his case, and he would listen to the other side. And this kid, Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, raised in a Mormon family, supposedly a nice family. So they say, oh, see, he didn't have any problems. Okay. Well, his girlfriend was a transsexual furry, meaning they act out as animals when they have sex. They dress up in animal costumes.
Actually, I didn't know that.
That's a transsexual furry, transgender furry, transgender. So this kid was a freak. He was being indoctrinated by the craziest, and he was defending his sexual partner when he shot Charlie Kirk in his mind.
But if you look at a lot of the mass shooters, I mean,
there's a lot of crazy,
very similar, a lot of similarities.
A lot of similarities. A lot of these transgenders are given these crazy drugs. They're told that they're the wrong sex. They go with it. Yeah. They're being coached. I mean, there's a lot of evil.
Well, the craziest parts of the world that we live in today. Look at the world. There's a lot of chaos going on around the world. I mean, you look at London right now. 3.2 million people come out, and look what's happening with the Muslim community.
I can't.
But look at Russell. Look at what's happening around the world right now.
Mental health is the epidemic of the 21st century.
Absolutely, 100%.
And so, as you know, I've thrown my hat in the ring with you and a few other great people. And we're creating Raw Health, which is a subsidiary of Raw Media. And it's taken on a life of its own right now. But it's all about trying to offer some sort of respite, a solution to this terrible problem that you just delineated so beautifully, by the way.
Well, I mean, the biggest part of what we have to do is now we have to start listening. And we need to start teaching mental health in our junior high and our high schools.
100%.
Because we need to start teaching our children to be leaders, to be resilient.
And we need to bring this online where the crazies are, I hate to say it, where the indoctrinators are, where the people that are spewing hate. So we need to at least do our part and introduce tools, solutions, opportunities to get well.
Absolutely.
And to make it cool.
Absolutely.
To make it, so you don't have to be ashamed because maybe your parents have an ugly divorce, or everybody in the family is a drug addict or alcoholic or criminal.
Well, Russ, if you look at it too, is that, a lot of the people that are out there with these shooters, well, I didn't know what they were doing in my own house.
100%?
I didn't know.
Absentee parenting, broken homes.
Well, but you also know, right? You know your child. You know the changes. You see the changes.
Well, not everybody pays attention. I'm watching this crazy show on Netflix that was on, I believe, network TV when I was in prison. So I missed it, called Animal Kingdom. And it's about this family. And the woman, they call her Murph. She has these 4 sons with 4 different guys.
Oh, yeah, I've seen an episode of that.
And her daughter has this kid who gets adopted now because his mother's a drug addict and she ODs and dies in the first episode. And it's this crazy family in California, and they're basically a crime family. They just steal from people and they kill the cop and terrible things. But the point I make is it's this incredibly dysfunctional family, right? Mm-hmm. Incredibly dysfunctional. But I'm watching it and I'm like, I know a lot of families like this. I know that this story, I know I was 25 years in Alcoholics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous and listening to everybody share. And then I was unfortunately in prison and different things. I was on Wall Street for 40 years. So the point I make is that I've encountered all kinds of crazies, but this crazy family is not like an outlier anymore. It's common in America. It's so friggin' common to have no parents in the house because it's a broken home and the mother's working 2 jobs and the kids have to, figure out how to live by themselves. My dad passed away when I was 16. From that moment on, my whole family was nuts and disjointed and broken apart, and I just had to figure out life by myself. So I have a lot of sympathy for people that are exposed to it, but not everybody adapts so well. I found drugs and alcohol as a way to soothe myself because I had so much pain. Yeah, I didn't have a program with tools offered to me that I could just, click on my phone and find.
Well, I mean, that's the reason that my program is called My Soul Warrior, because now you reflect back to the beginning of my story. Yeah, I'm a New Zealand Maori. I mean, when indigenous people of New Zealand, of my people, and the most beautiful part is that we were warriors. And that's what it's all about, is what's the strength of your warrior within inside you?
We're all warriors, you're saying.
Absolutely. Women and men.
Sometimes you have to find them.
Right. But the biggest part of it is, and I've always had this discussion, Ross, and the biggest part of it is this. Your warrior within inside you, how can I affect your warrior? And the only way I can affect your warrior is your 5 senses. Taste, touch, sight, smell, hearing. Right? So if I'm screaming and yelling at you, I'm affecting your warrior. If I'm being aggressive and coming towards you and you see it, I'm affecting your warrior. What you hear, what you see, if I grab you, I'm affecting your warrior.
Correct.
But you know what you can do? Not listen.
I can tune you out. Ignore it.
Not see what you're doing.
A lot of people do that, boy. A lot of people. Denial is a very powerful tool.
Not react.
I get it.
Because that is the only way that we can affect the warrior on the inside. But you also have the choice to say, no, I don't listen. No, don't you come near me.
Well, boundaries.
Don't speak to me that way. Right.
Establishing boundaries.
Well, you're talking about boundaries, but it also, that warrior on the inside, like I said, are you a gatherer? Are you a warrior? Or are you a chief? Leaders.
Right.
And that's what we need in the world today. Mental health is the key to making a better society and a better world. And that needs to be introduced. That's the number one priority in this world today. And even with my program, my Soul Warrior program, if it can help you, it gives you tools to be able to use so you know how to deal with anxiety and depression. And we're giving you tools to be able to do that. And it's the online course, like I said, 170 recordings. If you want to listen to your car, you can sit in your car, you can listen to it.
You created all this?
Videos. I created all of
it. All in the last 2 years?
All in the last 2 years.
With a new heart, a new lease on life. How do you feel?
I feel good. It's different. I live in a different world. I still train every day, and it's a fight. And I live in a different world now. I'm not the athlete, and that's the hardest part with all of this, because the athlete is inside me, my warrior is inside me, but the body is totally different than it was before.
I'm struggling with this myself. I was a beast my whole life. I used to fight. I used to train. I was a really competent wrestler, football player, and now it's just all that's in the past. I'm 68 years old. You know, I'm dealing with medical issues. That's why. What doctor am I going to see this month?
Ross, I'm 55 years old and I had a double bypass.
I was a killer at 55, bro. I don't want to hear any excuses.
But you know, like it is honestly, like, you know, I'm on medication now that I'm going to be on for the rest of my life.
Taking blood thinners? Is that?
Yeah.
Which one are you taking?
Eliquis.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a day, like I thought, which I got to stop thinking, to be honest with you, but I thought I ran out of Eliquis. And I thought, hey, you know, like I can get it in a week, because I'd left it up north and I was going to get sent down. And I'm like, I can go without it for a week. 2 days and I ended up back in the emergency room.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. What were your symptoms?
Couldn't breathe.
Felt
sick, felt horrible. And as soon as they gave me Eliquis, everything went back to normal.
Really?
And then the realization is, oh, good Lord, I'm going to be on this for the rest of my life.
Nothing wrong with it. Listen,
if
you're taking medication for the right reasons,
it is a different fight for me, but it's also a different fight for me in life. And let me tell you something. If Mr. Holden was sitting in front of me right now, you know, I am on a different mission in life, because the mental health is the good Lord kept me here. I had 3 cardiologists tell me that I should have died in the last year before I went in for my surgery. 3 cardiologists. I wouldn't have had a heart attack. I would have dropped dead.
That's what happens. You're dead before you hit the floor.
Yep. And you know, again, get calcium scores, but I should have dropped dead in the last year. 3 cardiologists told me that.
The good last Lord, year? Well, 2 years ago, you mean?
2 years ago.
Yeah, I got you.
How's
your health today?
Good.
Pretty good?
Pretty good.
I mean, you're 55. You're not a kid.
Well, I mean, the biggest part of it is, for me, is he kept me here for a reason.
I believe that.
And let me tell you something, when the realization of what I went through, when I sat in that office, I was in that office 20 hours a day, building this thing, and he was guiding me. And so for me, as if I can get this in the hands and it's going to help people, it's going to change people's lives, absolutely I will give it to them, because that's what my soul warrior is about. Fix your soul, fix your inside, because if you're strong here, then this is strong.
I get it.
And build your warrior, become stronger, because that's what it's all about for me.
So it's a program designed for men and women that have potentially been through some sort of trauma.
Everything mental, everything that you're struggling with, because I've
issues?
started.
But you didn't have
a women's support group, men's support group.
You didn't really have mental issues, right?
But I know a lot of people that did.
Right.
A lot of rugby players that I played.
You had a lot of pain. You were what they call a nadir. It's a big crossword puzzle. NADIR. That means the lowest point, right?
Yep.
So you're laying in ICU.
Yep.
You know, luckily your kids are there.
Yep.
But you know, they just told you had open heart surgery.
Yep.
And both lungs collapsed.
Yep.
And by the way, Leah just divorced you.
Yeah.
Leah, shame on you.
But what a life, huh?
Well, it's a life.
I'm alive.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm alive.
I'm hopeful that your greatest act is coming, is right in front of you still. And I'm hoping that Mr. Holden is listening to us right now. And he's somewhere up in the next place smiling down on us saying, go get him, kiddo.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, from the belief of my people, like I said to you, I had a gift for you that I wanted to show you. And it's called the Haka.
Tell everybody what that is.
The Haka is our people. It is a chant. It is a dance that we perform, and it's to honor somebody, and it's to honor our ancestors that came before us, like Mr. Holden, like Mr. Jessup, like Mr. Morrison, that all came into my life and showed me a different direction, showed me love, showed me leadership, showed me respect, and taught me all of that. And for me, that's what the Haka represents for me, and for my people, it represents the people that came before us, that paved the way for who we are today. And that's the gift that I want to share with you.
So the Haka, you're telling us, is a sort of spiritual dance. It's not just a dance, it's of celebration.
It represents our ancestors.
Right.
And it's the people that came before us. But it's celebrated at funerals, because even when my mom passed away,
wow,
you know, you do the Haka because you're calling to your ancestors to meet.
To welcome your mom.
Welcome my mom.
And to the Maoris, I mean, this is going on for thousands of years, really.
Yeah.
You can trace your ancestors way back,
Way back. You know that the Maoris were the first navigators in the world, because they would navigate by sea, by ocean, by wind.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's a great story. So I wanted to say for all of us at Raw Media today, it was such a privilege having you here and finally getting to hear your whole story.
Privilege is
and
mine.
Leah, shame on you. And I just want to say, I've gotten to know you. We've had some fun, right? Lunch, dinner, etc. We're about to have another lunch and meet some people, and that's pretty cool stuff. So how do you say goodbye in your language?
Hairera.
Say it again.
Hairera.
Hairera.
Yep. Hairera.
Lance.
Thank you, Ross. Pleasure was mine. You know, and I've met a great man. I know that. And
thank you so much.
With everything that, and in the meetings that we have had together, I've met a great friend.
Thank you.
And I met my Mr. Holden.